I liked your action here, Shannon, which is use your teeth to cut the thread.
Yes, same.
Did I do that?
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That adds up.
There's so much survivalist intimacy in this game.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Why didn't you tell him?
There's so much you could read out of those faces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go.
What about this? Anything worthwhile?
And there's that fucking map
Yeah, this
again.
is this is where the conflict starts to bubble back up between these two.
It makes it so much more sad because it's like, just stick with Dina. Look how you have love and care.
It's so interesting because it's what The Last of Us is about. It's like
Yeah.
within this room right now, you have like two kinds of love. There's this very positive one with Dina, and this kind of negative one of like, I gotta get the people that hurt the person I love, Joel.
Wait, you're gonna go now?
Yeah.
And where now the negative one is trumping the positive one.
Just wait for Jessie to rest up.
She could be gone by then.
She's got to make the lamb stop screaming, you know?
We know her location.
And she's using Tommy as an excuse in a very minor way now, and a much more significant way later. And it's funny. It's like all these people, like Maria, Tommy, and now Dina realize I can't convince her otherwise. She's just gonna go do it. So all I could do is support her.
Well, it's a diction narrative,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Can you come help me lift him
you
up, please?
you have to wait until
And
they
it's-
bottom out.
And it's the foreshadowing that eventually Dina says, I can't do it anymore. Oh, Hotline Miami. Or as this lady is so famously known as Vita Girl.
Oh, yeah, 'cause she's got her PS Vita.
Named Nora.
And yeah, this scene was already kind of like laying out hints that
We're in the hospital.
even if Ellie's trying to avoid violence, it's going to find her. Right? So she doesn't mean to kill this person.
You gotta respect her efficiency, though.
I mean,
One shot.
one shot wonder.
Mm-hmm. No looking back either. Straight to gameplay.
Oh yeah, this.
Don't scream.
I mean, Nora's
Put that shit down.
pretty smart in this scene.
Yeah.
Is that she knows she needs to get under Ellie's skin to just rattle her so she could get away.
You remember me?
But she still doesn't know who Ellie is until the next scene.
You remember me.
What do you want?
Abby was here earlier. Where'd she go?
I love all these scenes where like Ellie's trying to be like Joel. She's trying to interrogate
Yeah.
people the way Joel would, and there's always something a little off about it.
Still be dead.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Tell me where she went,
also
I'll think about letting you go.
sometimes I feel like
Could have killed.
we can forget that she's only 19.
Right.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to hurt anybody unnecessary.
Fuck out of
Yeah.
Jackson.
But just going on this journey is like you're not going to be able to help it.
Yeah, I feel like each time
You still hear his scream?
she kills somebody, it's not as easy as it was kind of for Joel. Because each death feels like it's leaves something with her.
Yeah. Yeah, that little bitch got what he deserved.
You fucking.
These little opportunities where we wanted Ellie to use her superpower, which is her immunity, to get out of these like precarious situations. I remember the establishing of the geography was tricky here, and like how do we separate these two characters?
Yeah. How do you spot the goal?
Right. There's this progression that with each one of these like revenge kills, we wanted Ellie to lose more and more of her humanity in a way that she doesn't even understand what is happening to her. So you could see a lot of this, and again, I love how you play this, which is you're amping yourself up. You kind of know what you're going to have to do here. And having the willpower, again, to hurt someone to such a degree.
Yeah, there's a bit of a trying to stall a little bit. Like maybe there's some other way out of this.
There are no fireflies anymore.
Where's Abby?
Yeah, now we're at a point where she thinks all she needs is Abby to feel better about the whole thing.
And that's where it feels like you can feel that she's still a kid because she's looking for this thing to try to fix it, and that's not it.
It's interesting to think about the scene from Nora's perspective, which is like how much she's willing to sacrifice to try to help her friend. She's bracing herself because she knows what's
She
coming.
knows.
Like, Nora's a pretty commendable character
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
other side.
And it was important to just to add this little bit of interactivity to make the player complicit in this. There's a parallel of an image there when Ellie goes to enter Joel's house, her hand shakes, and then she grabs the handle, and now her hand is shaking from the violence she's committed against Nora. And it just shows that as much as she wants to be like Joel, she's not Joel. I think Joel could disassociate more, just remove himself from the impact that his violence has in a way that Ellie cannot.
Ellie doesn't have as much practice with it.
She also has, I think, more empathy.
I think so.
I also think
Yeah.
she needs it more than he did. I think for Joel, killing is practical, and for Ellie, it's emotional.
Right. We see Joel in the first game tortures a couple of guys, and he just moves on. And then Ellie just did it, and it will forever change her.
Yeah, that's not something you can take back.
The torturing we've seen of Joel's has always been toward a productive purpose, right? It's to help or to save or to learn in a way to be a protector. And Ellie is just a destroyer.
Love this performance. This is a very expensive part of the game, by the way. One of the things in live action is you get for free is putting a shirt on or taking it off. In a CG world or in video games, it's extremely expensive and hard. And we had to write in this whole physics simulation on this shot, this right here. This is so tricky to pull off. We're seeing it at the same time that Dina is seeing it. Like, look how beat up she is. Look how much she's already gone through.
Often when you play video games, your character or any of the characters in the game are impervious, right? They live or they die. It's pretty binary. And this allowing us to show the wear and tear on her body and allowing the violence to have an impact, not just emotionally, but also visibly, again, humanizes all of the characters in this game.
There's so much happening there with almost no dialogue.
That scene is tough. Like, taking her shirt off and exposing her and her grief there, because it's not just about what she did, you know? Like, there's so much grief, and she hasn't expressed anything yet, right? Like, it's the first time you really see it, and so there's this urge to, like, care for that. But then also that anxiety of, like, I'm losing this person.
Right.
It's really painful to even watch and, like, talk about. Like, it's really heavy. It's just such a universal theme there.
I was one of the ones.
Right.
Oof, yeah.
And the girl.
We talked a lot about how could Ellie draw the truth out of him. And even when confronted with facts, he might not say the truth. It's what makes him ultimately do it is the threat of like, I will disappear and you'll never know my fate. And that's the worst thing she could
worst
threaten
thing.
him with. A lot of iteration on this horse animation right here. Trying to make it as believable as possible.
This hug. Just the unrequited hug.
I've definitely had those moments with my kids where it's like they're mad at me over something.
You talk to me. Mm.
I feel like it's such I mean, as thinking of like when I was a kid, it's so hard to reciprocate a physical hug like that when you're so angry.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you can't touch me right now because I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Tell me.
It's like I don't even know if Ellie knows what she's expecting here. She just wants a more. I think she just wants a more plausible story, but there's a part of it that maybe is still in denial of what he's gonna say.
Yeah.
I also remember you being so patient, Neil, with this. It was
You will never see me again.
it was so important to just let each line land where it needed to land and the response to come when it had to come.
I'll go back to Jackson.
Because we did this a lot of times. That we all were very patient with this one.
I love watching your performance right here, Trev. Like Joel doing the math of like, do I say it? Do I not say it? And then right here, he's resigned. He's going to say it, and she just needs to push him over the edge. But look at him; he's so torn. It's so great.
The first word is the hardest.
And he does need to spell the whole thing out for her because she knows.
Yeah.
She knows what this meant.
Would have killed you. Ashley, there's something that you did that is just so powerful. It's that, without even saying it, just the clutching, like I can't breathe. Like it's literally taking the air out of me, and
It's so much information to find out,
Yeah.
but something that she's always known, but to actually hear it. And also knowing that, oh, wow, you have been lying to my face every time that I've asked you about this. And also the purpose that she had is kind of now gone.
yeah.
Well, the sacrifices that all the other people made, right? Which is like Riley and Tess
Oh,
and
yeah.
Henry and Sam and everybody along that journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Going that whole journey in it.
What was it? It can't be for nothing. It can't be for nothing.
We're done.
Yeah, I feel like the killing of Nora was a really big turning point. I feel like emotionally for Ellie. Because, oh man, I love that part. Just to see how much she's been through physically.
Yeah, for me, that was one of my favorite sort of moments. Is so much in video games the characters feel infallible, or even if they take hits, they're still great, And to show that this isn't just an external cost. She's destroying herself.
Oh,
Oh,
The Ellie and Jesse relationship is really kind of fascinating of the respect these characters have for one another and the shared love they have for Dina. Yeah, this was a cool shot of just showing what's at stake. If we just keep pursuing this thing endlessly.
I aspire to be Jesse when I grow up.
me too.
Yeah.
Such a good dude.
She had a rough
Yeah,
night.
also the idea of secrets, right? Characters holding on to these secrets, right? The idea that she's pregnant is a secret that Jesse figures out.
Is she pregnant?
And then, like, right, it's again knowing how much Ellie wrestles with characters not telling her the truth.
Yeah. And I think so much of the wrestling with that was like, I shouldn't be the one to tell this information. It's not my place to, but yeah, I don't want to.
But we gotta take her.
Don't want to
I
lie.
don't want to lie.
She needs real care, and she's not gonna get that.
Yeah, I know.
This is starting to lay track of the choice that's coming later of I can't just leave Tommy as rationalization. Now that she's like, she had some time away from the torture, the obsession, the call of the hunt is coming back up.
Maybe you could. The justification, which again has learned from Joel.
Yeah, whittling these scenes down to just the bare essentials, just to make them as tight as possible, to get back to gameplay. That was quite a bit of iteration.
Which I feel like speaks so much to what you all do at Naughty Dog, is like the scenes don't have a ton of dialogue, and so much of it is just through looks or movements.
Yeah, well, we're in a privileged position in that we have the budget and the animators and like the talent that could like translate what you're doing on stage pretty much one-to-one to what comes out on screen. But it does take a lot of effort.
Let's go tell her we're leaving then.
I'll just meet you.
No.
Like, yeah, he's got a lot to process, right? It's just,
Yeah, he just found out he's a dad.
he just found out he's a dad. And this is like this goodbye, because any one of these excursions, you might not come back. And Ellie's surrounded by all these people that want to support her, and they don't quite understand the darkness of the obsession.
I need you to lock the door for us.
How do you leave that little punum behind?
I know.
Look at her.
Let's do it. Your map showed the aquarium along the shore. Should be down.
It took forever to build this, what we call the wide, which is like the deep background, where you could see the Ferris wheel, you could see just all these obstacles in front of them.
How are we crossing this?
We could use that road.
You could see WLF vehicles on that highway. And again, when you're acting in this, you don't see anything. So then you're just kind of doing gestures, and then based on what
Pointing around.
what your head is looking at, we build the environment around that.
Come on. This way.
Yeah, and this is where the obsession completely takes over, where it's like, we can go for Tommy, or we can go for Abby, but we can't do both. And Ellie rationalizes that going after Abby would be the better choice.
The marina through here.
We're taking a boat.
You heard them, right? They're talking about Tommy.
We don't know that.
Who else is it gonna be?
If it is him, he'll be gone by the time
And
we
it's,
get
it's so fascinating to think about someone that just has put so much weight of like people being honest to each other. And here she's lying to Jesse and lying to herself.
Yeah, I think so much of it is her own avoidance.
You do this, I'm not saying.
And now Jesse just sees how dangerous she's become in this obsession, and she's losing even him. And it's so hard to lose Jesse. Yeah, and a lot of the construction of this game was these long stretches where Ellie would just be by herself. So to put these scenarios where we separate her from the people that love her, and wanting the player to feel as alone as she does.
People don't come back from that island.
The roughest scene in the game?
One of them,
I'm not fucking going there.
Then don't.
Ashley Birch, Patrick Fugit.
seeing these glimpses of this other crew and not quite understanding what this fight is about or what the conflict is.
Hands up.
Only later just getting the rest of the context. And this is Ellie trying to be Joel. Ellie trying to do the Joel technique of... And this is another one of the situations where Ellie doesn't want to kill them. She just wants Abby. But the situation gets away from her. I love that she's just on razor's edge of just her emotions completely taken over.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't quite, because she's inexperienced in this type of behavior, she doesn't quite have the calm, cool, and collected way of doing it like Joel did.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and we wanted in this exploration of, the pursuit of justice at any cost, that to show that there's always a cost. And, in the cycle of violence, there's often unintended consequences. And the idea that Ellie inadvertently kills a pregnant woman just felt like a great metaphor for that. But it definitely horrified some of the people at the studio that heard this pitch.
Yeah. It's an interesting question of, at this point in Ellie's obsession, what could she see that would make her pause, that would make her seriously question after torturing Nora, after leaving Dina behind?
Well,
You need something big
Yeah.
to wake her up.
And I love how you play this panic attack right here. And just the audio design for it as well. And we do this trick when Tommy comes in. We actually recorded a line with Troy, so she hears Joel for like a split second. So you show like all these things are just interconnected in her mind now, all these like traumatic events.
Yeah, she's not built for this.
And just show what a good guy Jesse is. It's like he went and got Tommy and said, "We gotta hurry and get to Ellie at the aquarium."
Mm-hmm.
This was another like clue chain thing we needed to do to set up for later with Abby, is the idea that Ellie has this map, and in the chaos of this whole moment, she dropped it and didn't even realize it.
It's not gonna work. It's completely covered in snow.
Nah, by the time we get there, this whole area will be thawed.
Yeah, this is a bunch of obsessed characters, except for Jesse. Jesse is the most moral character in the story.
What are you guys doing?
That all have to accept
Couldn't sleep.
that it's time to go home.
Come take a look at
That
this.
it has to be okay if
Thought is to head home via Ellen.
some of them get away with it.
We're in Fall City by tomorrow. We're doing good.
It's like these two, they have to convince each other.
Hey. They got what they deserved.
Yeah,
But she gets to live.
so much, so much pent up energy under that line.
He's still not on board. He's like, well,
There is something interesting about how, like, Ellie doesn't see
Okay.
living as the punishment it is. Like, living with loss is the punishment it is, even though it's destroying her. In a weird way, for Ellie, like, it would almost be... she's suffering so much and there's no peace, but she doesn't see that enough to say, I'm okay with Abby living with that level of suffering.
Oh, yeah.
And losing
Oh, yeah.
everyone she loves. Like I've made her life miserable. And that would be the triumph.
Yeah, in her mind, it's like she doesn't know what life she's living. She doesn't know what burden she's carrying. She's like, any kind of life, she hasn't paid the price for what she did.
It's funny, and yet Ellie is incapable of living herself, right? She's incapable of. Yeah, it's interesting.
And this is Tommy just trying to make light of the whole thing.
Can we say it's from all of us?
Ha! You find your own damn bribes.
I really like this, the relationship between Ellie and Jesse and just how much respect they have for each other. I really like this moment right here.
How you doing?
Jesse's just kind of the best. He's the most mature, level, reasonable guy.
And Steven is such a cool dude.
Yeah.
Such a cool dude.
He's just
He's
super
like
chill and like, he's kind of like a cowboy.
Yeah, and he's
got
like so positive too. He's
yeah.
even when he'd be like, I'm real tired, real tired.
Because over the course of the game, he went from like newly married to having
Several
triplets.
children. Yeah, I think like several children.
My friends can't get out of their own damn way.
It's like my friend's problems are my problems. Like, and it just, he puts everybody else over him.
He would have been a great baby daddy.
And no good deed goes unpunished.
Ugh,
Hands in the air, I shoot this
I love how abrupt it is.
me too.
Get out of here!
Stand up! Now!
Don't you fucking dare!
Shut the fuck up!
This is one of the few scenes that Ellie and Abby are together. And when we're making the game, it felt like we're making two very separate games
Yeah.
with two different casts of characters. And then when they combine, it was such a strange feeling.
Toss your weapon! I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did to save me. There is no cure because of me. I am the one that you want.
And she doesn't get it.
Just let him go.
She doesn't know what this is about.
You killed my friends. We let you both live. And you wasted it.
Cut to black.
Dad? Baby Abby. You can tell because her braid is so much shorter.
It's interesting in hindsight now watching how when players do this, they think, oh, I'm just going to get a little bit of a glimpse into who she is. They don't know yet. You're only at the halfway point.
Abs?
And we're about to introduce Jerry the surgeon, played by Derek Phillips, who voiced the surgeon in the first game.
Right there.
Another fun fact is we originally cast him as Henry before we decided
Really?
to drastically change those characters, and then gave him the role of the surgeon.
Believe it or not, they actually care about your safety.
These woods are
But that's before you knew that the second game was happening at all.
Yeah.
Right on the other side of those trees.
And?
She's due any day now. We'll just check on her and then we'll head back. I promise.
Like this role reversal where she's more the adult in this relationship.
See?
You're probably thinking about this surgeon that doesn't have much to do until Ellie shows up.
Abs?
And we're about to introduce Jerry the surgeon, played by Derek course, the zebra comes because, again, this is part of the Salt Lake City Zoo where the giraffes escaped that we saw in the first game. Zebra, played by the wonderful Chris Robbins, who doubled for a lot of stunt work as well for many characters on this game and the first game.
I bet nobody ever asked him to be a zebra before.
No, but man, he did a good
nailed it.
job of being a zebra tied up in barbed wire. And he's like this big former football player, and he's just knocking everybody around here.
I love Pat just coming in like,
What's going on?
I'm like, yeah, what the fuck is this?
Come on. You got it tight?
right, and then this was originally a mini game where you had to cut the wires off of the zebra.
We worked on it for quite a while, and just
We did.
eventually.
That was a long scene of,
Yeah.
okay, now hold still.
Yeah.
Right there, that little slip in the mud. Again, that's hand animated.
What the fuck?
And then it's like, again, it's like the dad is acting like a child.
Come on.
And this was a stitch point because, again, the volume can only take you so far, and those stitches can be really tricky. But it was important in this project to always go outside the volume and just not make you feel. A lot of games, the performers could feel really constrained, like in the box.
That
I
girl
wanted it to
showed
feel freer than that.
The one Marlene keeps talking about. They found her in the tunnels. She has an old bite mark on her arm. No signs of infection. That can't be. They're already running tests on her, but you gotta get down there.
Now there's like this glimmer of hope with Ellie, and revealing that we're in that same giraffe location. All this beauty and wonderment happened in the first game.